joined today by Kirsty Jordan from BCS. She's head of HR, and I thought it'd be really useful to have a different perspective. So, a perspective from somebody who's been on the Build It Quickly programme, but is working in-house in HR. Kirsty, thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So, let's start off from your perspective. What is it that you wanted to get from Build It Quickly? What drew you to the programme?
The reason I liked the idea of Build It Quickly and to get myself booked onto the course was really to take some time to learn how to build a workshop quickly, so then we can start to address some of the needs that we've got in the organisation around training and development, but not have to go out and outsource, pay a lot of money onto training when it, really with the expertise that we've got within the team, we could create a really good workshop of our own for probably quite a lot less money.
Absolutely. And I know that that's a really common theme across HR professionals, because when I interviewed and polled HR professionals, I found out 74% of them who are expected to run training workshops and programs for their companies, they've never even had L&D experience or L&D training. And, I know that your remit is so broad, Kirsty. So looking after L&D, it's not necessarily a tool set or a skill set that you'll have naturally.
No, you're absolutely right. It's not something that I do possess naturally. I've picked it up along the way. It's one of the strings to my bow. Is it a specialism? Absolutely not. I'm a HR generalist. So being able to take some of those really good techniques that I learned on the Build It Quickly course meant that I didn't get overwhelmed. There was no overwhelm with all this great content and all this stuff that's in my head that I could pass on to the manager community within BCS. It meant that it was a case of, it's not necessarily what you give or the level of content, but it's how you deliver it and the different ways you can chop and change that, cut that cake, so then it becomes a really easy to deliver workshop that is engaging, that is easy for people to follow, and then hopefully be able to learn something from, and then take that learning away with them and apply it to their day-to-day work.
All right. So how would you, in your own words, how would you describe the Build It Quickly programme?
So I did write some notes for this bit because I knew you were going to ask me this question. So I think first things, it was enjoyable. It was really enjoyable. It was insightful. The pace was it was quick enough. I think I think it was just pitched quite right with the pace. There was enough there, enough reflection time. Really touched on the different ways of learning with the different people in the audience. There was a bit of group work, a bit of one-to-one work, and also that time to just reflect. And I quite liked how the course was it was split into the 2 days, so it then meant that there was a nice space of time to be able to reflect and go away and do a little bit of work before coming back again, instead of trying to fit it all into one day and then not having the opportunity to reflect.
Fabulous. And then, of course, we've also got the collaboration sessions afterwards, which we have on a monthly basis. And in fact, we've just come straight from one right now,
Yep.
right?
We have, yeah, they're really, really helpful.
And it's an opportunity to get back together with people who've attended any of the Build It Quickly programs and just come along with any questions, challenges, bounce around some ideas and suggestions in a really safe space.
Yeah, they're really, really helpful. And I'm looking forward to coming to more in the future as well.
Great stuff. So let's think about your experience, what you've taken from it and what it means that you can do differently now.
So differently, what I hope to be able to do differently is not sit there procrastinating forever trying to build a workshop on something that we want to deliver training wise within the organization. Some of those hints and tips that you gave us, that tool, the treasure chest, wasn't it? So being able to use that and thinking, consciously evaluating as you're rolling a workshop as well, which was a real new thing for me, was actually thinking about, don't just have your PowerPoint and crack on and just give what's in your head and give that training. Actually think about your audience, and then if you're finding that it's not quite going well, or that it's not landing as you hoped it to, then there's all these different tricks of the trade and those bits in that treasure chest that you can pull out and then try and engage more participation, more collaboration with the teams that you might be doing that workshop. Because certainly you could run the same workshop time and time again, but depending on the group of people that you've got in the room, it can go completely differently. So learning ways to adapt and chop and change so that you're giving people the best possible learning experience that they could have in the group that they're within, is something that I'm definitely going to take away and apply that differently. As well as that nifty little tip you gave us with the modular piece, which is, you know, the module one, and naming things in a certain way so that it doesn't feel so laborious for people that, you know, particularly this course I'll be designing for line managers. They've already got a really, really busy day job, and they're not going to want to have to take the time out potentially to go and attend a workshop. So you've already got a little bit of a barrier there, maybe. So giving people that time to have a little bit of pre-learning, but the way in which that's bundled up, making it more accessible to people, I think is going to be really key as well.
Thank you. And if people haven't ever met me before or haven't worked with me, how would you describe what I'm like to work with, Kirsty?
Oh gosh, that's a question, Katie. I just think it was so personable, and knowing you, having met you a couple of times before as well, that authenticity is really key whenever I work with anybody, and you can see that for the way you deliver that in person as you are, but also it's very positive, you're very upbeat and engaging to listen to, and you give people that time as well, but then also that helpful guidance. To when we had our coaching session after the course, you really take the time to learn what it is that somebody needs to get out of the training that you've actually delivered, and then how you can help them further, so we can take the best possible experience that we've had from that learning and really kind of put it to good use. Anybody that I've spoken to since the course, if they've mentioned about, you know, training and development, or they've seen your course, then I definitely recommend it. I think the Build It Quickly sessions that I've attended, and the skills that I've taken away from it, are going to really help me, definitely as a generalist within a small organization that doesn't have a huge training and development budget, but I can impart some of that skills and knowledge, and dare I say best practice and people theory that as some HR professionals have, be able to pass that on in a really well designed and engaging way.